John, let me know when you're ready.
I'm
ready.
ready.
A moment to ready so much. All right. Well, I just want to say, everyone, the man of the hour is here, and I just want to say special thanks to John King. He's been a tremendous supporter of the Latin American Association of Insurance Agents, and I must say that you've been the greatest advocate and supporter. We want to thank you for joining us this afternoon and speaking to our audience here today. And I'll pass you the mic.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. ¿Cómo estamos hoy? Qué bueno estar aquí. Me preocupa que los que están van a hacer la protesta están ahí atrás. I always worry about the folks who sit in the back. I figure there's going to be the protest movement here. Hey, I just thank you so much for allowing me to be back. This group is truly special to me. You all are the trendsetters right there, especially in the Latino insurance market. I mean, you are knocking it out of the park. The tremendous growth in this industry, especially the leadership that you are providing, you are showing the way to young agents who want to participate in this market. And I'll tell you, the biggest opportunity is in the covering Latino small businesses with quality insurance products. And nobody can make the case better than somebody that understands our language and understands our culture. So I thank you all so much for being part of this incredibly exciting marketplace. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the things that we've been able to achieve in this last year since I last spoke to you all, and then talk to you about some of the priorities that we have for the legislature. And if it's okay, we'll do some questions if that's all right with y'all. Is it okay?
Is it okay to do questions? Yeah, absolutely. Please.
You know, you all were one of the first groups I ever spoke to. So I thank you all for allowing me to continue being part of this great and a very exciting opportunity to come and chat with you all, because I wanted to make a difference in insurance, because I saw that so many people in our community, in our culture, truly they don't understand insurance. It's not something that's innate to our culture coming from Latin America. You know, in Mexico, in Mexico, you take a loss, you dust your knees, you get back on your feet, and you start from scratch. The whole idea of insurance is almost foreign. And so not only are you selling products, but you're also educating our community how to manage risk. And that's what's truly exciting. I think the funniest thing I ever saw, because I'm not an insurance guy, I'm a policeman and I'm a soldier. That's how I come to this world. But I was up in Dalton, and I was talking to a gentleman, a very, very successful small business owner. And he was telling me, he said, yeah, I paid my house off, I'm going to cancel my insurance. And it was like, no. No. Now you own it, not the bank. You definitely need to keep insurance. But so that's the things that we have to deal with. And very few people really understand what you all do, especially when you're talking and educating our community to manage risk. You know, we manage and license every line of insurance in the state of Georgia. I'm truly honored, to be able to represent not only you all, but represent this industry in our state with common sense, market-based approach. How do we provide our regulatory? And my heart tells me that more companies, more agents participating in the marketplace, we're going to have better products, we're going to have more competition, and that's going to drive the cost of coverage. And we have a couple barriers right now. And I'm going to talk a little bit because that's become my priority. First of all, dealing with the cultural barriers and the educational barriers, making sure that the idea when we changed the test for insurance agent, the idea came from this room, from this organization, to make sure that the test was also offered in Spanish. It was thanks to you all that said, hey, you ought to do this. Took that to my team and says, hey, let's make sure that people can take the test in their native language. Because people in the Latino community need qualified, knowledgeable agents to be able to present those products. One of the challenges we have is, as you all know, I'm not going to tell you much about that's things that you don't already know. We have an incredible problem with fraud. That is driving about $700 per family of additional costs to insurance. And so what we've done is we've got, oh, by the way, do you know who's the number one generator of leads when it comes to fraud? It's not the consumer. Agents. Because you know who is operating the right way, who's not operating. You know who's hurting your brand, your profession better than anybody else. And I want to thank y'all for continuing helping us go and take out the bad characters, the folks that are ruining things for not only for the community but also for this industry. So I thank y'all so much. We started with about 10 agents across the state of Georgia. Now we have 40. Good experienced investigators. They're taking your leads and going and investigating these leads. And we're making a dent. But Florida was number 1. We were number 2 in fraud across the nation. Florida is now going to number 4. We're still number 2. Washington, D.C. is now number 1. I wonder why. And so, and the other piece of what our priorities were is how do we get more people with quality healthcare insurance coverage? And so that's where the whole idea of getting out of the ACA, out of the Affordable Care Act, and building our own marketplace called Georgia Access. And I got some incredible leaders right here in the front. So if you all ask me some really hard questions, I'm gonna pitch it to my team. These are the superstars of Georgia Access. These 2 ladies right here in the front. We just closed out open enrollment, folks. These ladies right here and their team outperformed every state of the union, outperformed the federal government. Why? Because you all as agents were participating in getting people the knowledge so you can get people to choose the right coverage to match their life, not something that the government wants us, this is what you need to sign up. And so having knowledgeable agents that could speak Spanish, they could understand the communities and what the things in the communities, you all have made it. We have over 1.5 million Georgians signed up for private health insurance, breaking every record across the nation. Why? Because we have an incredible team and we have agents that are supporting this initiative. Thank you all so much. I'm really proud of Georgia and you all for helping us get this achievement. Why? Because we wanted more people covered with quality health insurance. Why? Because we know that if you don't have insurance, you're going to use emergency rooms to get your medical care, which is the most expensive, most inefficient way of getting health care. And we still end up paying the bill for that as taxpayers. So having people with quality health care coverage is a win for all of us. And so this is one of the biggest things that I wanted to cheerlead for this organization, because you helped us achieve that. Having folks go to Gainesville, to Dalton, in Spanish, to talk to folks that are like, hey, what is this health care coverage? Can I just go to the emergency room? No, you get better coverage, better treatment, better outcomes when you're getting care before you get to an emergency situation. And so, incredibly proud of that. The other initiative, and you notice that my forehead is a little red because I've been hitting my head against a brick wall for the last 3 years, is what a lot of people call tort reform. You know, and I beg you, don't call it tort reform, because we know what torta means. It does not mean anything to do in a courtroom. It means, sandwich. That's what I try to explain to a lot of folks. Is abuse of our civil system, court system. We're trying to reform this because we are out of whack in Georgia. We're out of balance. And you see all the ads on the side of the freeway. We changed the character of insurance. Insurance was designed to fix your car, to fix your injury. It was never designed to, you won the lottery, because that is what's turned into. You see all the signs now, they don't even fake it anymore. I used to say for the people, now they scratch off for the people, it's just for the money. Because if people are thinking that they're winning the lottery, it is wrecking our not only our court system, but it's wrecking the industry. And what's happening now is that we have folks that can't afford coverage. Small convenience stores throughout Georgia can't find property coverage because nobody's going to insure a small convenience store that's in a bad part of town or with something that's perceived to be a bad part of town. That's not fair. And the problem is it's squeezing the small business and entrepreneurs out of existence. We talk about workforce housing, apartments. You know, how we struggle to build homes and apartments so people can live and still go to work and have a wage that they can support. What happens now is that apartment complexes are being sued by somebody that will trespass onto an apartment complex, commit a crime, and then the apartment complex is getting sued. Well, when that apartment complex tries to find coverage at renewal time, the rates are going almost 50% or up because nobody wants to insure apartment complexes. What happens then? The cost of that increase of insurance gets passed on to every resident with increased rents. So that's where the rents is going through the roof. So we're in a crisis. We're not going to change that by me as insurance commissioner, or even we have the governor supporting this. We're not going to change this. I've done this for now 2 years, and I've failed miserably. I mean, that's why my forehead is red, because I hit the brick wall with this. The only way we're going to change that is by getting you all to talk to your customers and have your customers call legislators and say, hey, I can't afford insurance. I'm being priced out. I can't run my business. I can't do a package delivery because I can't afford the commercial carrier coverage. By having your customers call the legislators about why they're getting squeezed out, that's the only way that politicians react. Because right now, and this is the year we're going to have to get it done. If we don't get it done this year, next year we get into the governor's election cycle. Good luck trying to get anything meaningful done. Because all the politicians will be, it's like politicians in Mexico promising you everything, flat screen TV and a refrigerator and all, las promesas que nos dan. So, when you talk, nothing is more powerful than having a local constituent call the legislator, hey, where do you stand on this? When they come and campaign in your community, where do you stand with this? Because I can't afford insurance. This reform, what we're trying to do is not pro-insurance, it's pro-small business. And that's because insurance companies are making profits, good profits, but they're making them everywhere else but Georgia. And right now we're being squeezed out. So those are the big priorities. But again, I wanted to congratulate y'all for helping us get Georgia access to an incredible level of performance. I mean, we are the envy of the nation right now because we understand the market in Georgia. Why? Because we're listening to you all. And that's incredibly important to me, to continue having this conversation. And so with that, I guess if it's okay, pause and take questions.
Yeah. Anybody has questions to ask?
I do.
Okay.
You said you were going to mention about some of the legislation
Yes.
that the department has proposed to the legislature.
Yep.
Did you want to speak of that?
Well, tort reform is our biggest. Those are the biggest challenges. We're trying to clean up some of the language, but there's not a whole lot. I mean, people don't realize how much authority this office has. I guess that's why we have 2 commissioners of insurance in jail. Because
You're getting very close to Louisiana's record. You know that.
Yes, we got one more. But the problem is, I'm married to a Puerto Rican policewoman, so you never have to worry about me being a crook because they'll never find my body if I do something stupid.
I actually wanted
She's
to.
better than I do. So
I wanted to thank you for some legislation that has been proposed. I follow the legislature.
Which
I'll just mention it, and then you can maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Ready? No more pre-licensing education.
Yes. We realized that there was a lot of old laws that basically were in the books. And when I asked, why is that law in the book? Nobody could explain it to me. I said, well, if nobody can explain why we have a law or requirement, maybe you ought to not be doing it. Seemed pretty common sense. And so we went and talked to the folks in the industry, and it's like, yeah, it really doesn't add any value, but it makes your life harder. We also looking at some licensing requirements for folks if you've been in the industry like 30 or something, you know, and you happen to take the test, you know, I mean, by now, you know, if you've been in this industry for 30 or some plus years, you probably memorized the test. Now, we had some problems with a couple of tests out of Texas where folks were playing games with us, so we had to change a couple of the, you know, to make sure that we kept the standards. Because I'm also in the business of protecting your brand, your achievement, and not allowing people to come in and that will hurt the brand. But yeah, those are relatively minor. Nobody in the legislature is really pushing that.
No, I agree. But no, these are good things.
Yeah.
How about no more agency fees? I'm talking about the fee for the
Yes.
for the license.
When I did the analysis on that, it seemed like that was just kind of a money-making, you know, opportunity for the department to bring more revenue into the state. And folks, we're already collecting a insurance premium tax that gets shared with every city and every county in the state. We figured that was not reasonable. I mean, if you're gonna have a fee, there's some action, some work that the state is doing on behalf of that license. And if we can't justify it, we ought to probably do away with it.
And also it applies to the branch
Yes.
agencies.
Because we had a lot of folks that had a branch, and so you had to have your main agency had to have a fee, but then if you had a branch, you had to have, you know, pay another fee. That seemed unreasonable. I want more people to come to Georgia to participate in this great industry of insurance. When we have a vibrant insurance industry in Georgia, competitive, we're going to have better products, we're going to have better talent, and we're going to have opportunities for employment. Look at the young folks in this room. I mean, that's how we make a difference. I've tried to even approach reducing our premium tax, but the legislature,
No,
they're addicted
never
to that
fly.
tax. They don't want to get it. So I figured the fees is a way to cut down some of the costs.
And one other bill
Yep.
jumped out at me. Interesting. If a person wants to be an adjuster, they also have to have a contractor's permit or a contractor's license. Do you recall that one?
No, I don't. What we were doing is trying to clean up the language because it was a Wild West with adjusters. And this was as a result of adjusters coming to us and say, all right, we didn't like the fact that now you regulate us, but now that you regulators, help us clean up our industry. And some of these were just sitting in conversations with some adjusters and say, look, let's make sure that we have the good, reputable companies working in this process. And let's make sure that we can do away with some of the fraudsters, because there was a lot of fraudsters operating. But it was not fair to the companies who were working really hard to help consumers get the right, you know, get their policy resolved. The storm damages, you know, the hurricanes bring up the best and the worst. And so we've been listening to the adjusters, and I think cleaning up that language was a way to keep the good ones and make Georgia less attractive to the fraudsters.
I think Jessica have a question? No. Oh, okay.
Back in back.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
I'll get you next time, I promise. Yes.
Yes.
So I was with the big eye yesterday when we met yesterday, and I was just wondering what impact did that have to the crowd meeting and speaking to our representatives and constituents?
It is incredibly valuable, but we got to make sure that just because you talk to them, these politicians have short-term, memory, and they will forget very quickly. But you know what? Sooner or later, they're going to be coming back to your community and asking for your support. And that's when you press them. Where did you stand on this? Because they're keeping money out of your pocket. If they don't support this, they're hurting your customers. And this is not about, because you're in the industry, you know what it costs for litigation. That's driving the rates. through the roof. But that was very powerful. Every time the big guy comes, every time your customers call the legislator and says, hey, my agent just told me my coverage just went up. And please help me understand why. It is not because the insurance companies, we got lines of insurance, and I got, I had all these prepared remarks, and it drives my team nuts because I never go by them. The data call that we did, private passenger auto coverage, commercial auto, homeowners, commercial property, medical professional liability. The average 10 years, they have not made a significant profit. We cannot be the #1 state to do business if we don't fix this. It is because the unfairness right now of our court system. And I know you listened to this pitch. Partly, I was angry. I had this thing of angry, bad cop, good cop, and I wanted y'all to be the worst cop when you go talk to the legislators about the need to do some reform. Is there any doubt in this room that you have to wear a seatbelt in the state of Georgia, and if you don't, you probably can get a ticket? Any doubt?
No doubt.
Do you know that if it was an auto accident, you cannot disclose whether somebody was wearing a seatbelt or not?
Wow.
It's not allowed in the civil court? That's just flat wrong. It makes no sense. This just gives an unfair advantage. I mean, I'll tell you, how many folks drive 4 motor vehicles or 4 pickup trucks? Yeah, most of the guys. Guess what? $2.5 billion award in Columbus.
Yeah, I saw that.
You don't think that's going to have an impact on being able to? But remember what happened with Kia and Hyundais when they were getting stolen. Mm-hmm. These companies say we're going to cut down on covering these vehicles, or you're going to have to pay additional money. You don't think $2.5 billion award is going to make an impact on the market?
For sure.
It doesn't take away the tragedy of 2 elderly folks dying when the vehicle flipped over in the vehicle. But $2.5 billion, that crushes the market. People are not going to afford. That will run a company out of business. And so what we're trying to do is we want to make sure that if you're harmed, that you're made whole in court. That you're going to fix your injuries, that you're going to fix your car. What insurance was designed for. But it's not going to be that you won the lottery. Because $2.5 billion, you won the lottery. The greatest lottery in Georgia history.
Right. That's a significant verdict.
And insurance is not designed for that. And so that's going to drive small businesses and individuals from choosing other states to live in than this. Yes. Somebody just there.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask what advice.
I feel like I'm being interrogated by my wife here with your spotlight there, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, it just what advices do you give for the rookies or the people that just got licensed and that they are starting the business and they want to grow?
It's a great question. Join organizations like this. Build your network. You're going to learn from the folks that have been in this marketplace. Talk to each other. In the old days, you used to have a Rolodex. I know I'm talking, half of you guys have no idea what.
I say the same thing.
Yeah. But I will tell you, build your network. Have folks in this industry. You're in a very exciting industry. People can, if you work hard, the opportunities are endless. But you get better by talking to other folks that are going through the same challenges you're going through. How do you reach your customers? How do you provide a better education to you? Because I tell you, if you spend a little time educating your customers, they're going to become loyal customers for life. Because people, once they have a personal relationship with their agent, they're going to trust you to go shop for the best coverage they can find. And so you're in the people business. You're not in the providing products. Yeah, that's part of it. But you are in the building of confidence of people trust you to go look after their best interest. And And somebody that can speak the language, that understands the culture, is always going to succeed. Companies are tripping all over themselves to try to hire folks in this room that can speak several languages. And the problem in our culture, especially you second generation folks, you're horrible at learning how to speak Spanish and read and writing. Vamos a ir por el parking lot. I mean, mother of God. You know I'm talking. My daughter learned how to, my daughter grew up speaking Spanish. My son, knucklehead, he didn't want to learn how to speak Spanish. Then he marries a Colombian girl. Now he's desperate to learn how to speak Spanish because he wants to understand the things that she's saying about him. But, so, there you go. This is my homework assignment to you all. Yes, sir. No, aquí estamos perseverando, señor.
Sí. Hay una preocupación en la parte de los agentes de seguro de salud y vida con la creciente proliferación o prácticas ilegales que llevan a que conseguimos nuestros clientes de creación de pólizas dobles o triples, y esto les trae problemas con la declaración, el crédito fiscal. ¿Qué práctica endurecedora para castigar a esa gente? Porque yo creo que es el término que se debe hacer, porque ante el mercado de salud reportamos esos robos de clientes.
Es el problema que teníamos en el sistema federal. I'll translate for Spanish challenged persons. Ese es el problema que teníamos en el sistema federal, del ACA. No había ningún sistema de identificar a quién estaba cambiando las pólizas de una persona, y la mayoría de las personas ni sabían que estaban cubiertos y que los estaban moviendo porque estos agentes estaban tomando la comisión sin el cliente, sin saber lo que estaba pasando. Nosotros en Georgia y Cheryl y las señoras aquí están aquí. Ellas, eso es algo que me preocupaba yo. Para parar ese fraude tenemos sistemas, y si vemos que un agente tiene una cantidad abnormal de cambios, o si tenemos un cliente que se identifica que se ha cambiado, le vamos a decir a la gente: pruébanos que has hablado con esa persona, y si no, te podemos suspender del mercado, te podemos quitar la licencia, o te podemos poner en la cárcel si estás cometiendo fraude. El gobierno federal no tenía ese poder. Nosotros sí lo tenemos, porque yo soy el comisionado de seguros de este estado y soy elegido. All right. Once upon a time. He asked a great question that we've been dealing with. When we transferred the marketplace from the ACA to Georgia Access, a tremendous amount of fraud, especially with folks being switched from plans. Because we have some folks who were committing fraud by collecting those, every time they switch, they're collecting the commission. The federal system did not have a system of being able of identifying and dealing with that type of fraud. And Cheryl and her team at Georgia Access, we have now systems. Why? Because I'm the commissioner of insurance. So not only do I regulate the marketplace, but I also regulate agents. And so if we detect an abnormal number of switching of policies, that triggers our system to identify, to bring it up to one of our, and then we call the agent that says, show us that the customer approved this switch. Because what we were finding under the federal system, the people didn't even know they had coverage, and they were being switched repeatedly, and those collection and the commissions were being collected, and nobody was watching. We are watching that in Georgia. We need to make sure that when you have a customer, that customer has made a deliberate choice, that we have a system of being able to trigger. And we have options. We can suspend you from the marketplace because I license you. We can take your license away if the fraud is crazy, or we can prosecute you and put you in jail. So that's the accountability. I'm accountable to you all to make sure that we have a marketplace where you have protections for all your hard work, and that somebody's not coming in and just swiping your customer. But ultimately, it's the customer that I'm protecting. And I think you want, I don't think you all have minded us being tough as long as we're fair across the board, that you know the rules, that are straightforward. You want the market to be protected because you have a vested interest as well. So I know I ran them out, but I'm glad you asked me. That was a great question. Yes?
Gracias por la pregunta. So this is a question for you, Mr. King. When we spoke to us a year ago, one concern that we had in the marketplace was about direct action, Georgia being one of those states. I know
we were able to pass direct action.
Okay, great.
And so we now in commercial auto, we're starting to see some companies starting to look at, but it's going to take a couple years for the market because they got burnt pretty bad.
Yes.
Especially in the commercial auto coverage. That's why we're trying to get this reform on civil justice reform that we're trying. It's Florida passed it, and now Florida's starting to get, we've seen already a 3% drop in rates in Florida, but it's taken almost 2 years.
It takes time. Yeah.
First of all, we have to stop the bleeding because the rates are going up and people are leaving the marketplace. So we have to stop that, and then we can start. Because if we can pass this, then I have bargaining. When an insurance company comes and asks for a ridiculous rate, I'm going to have tools to say, well, you can't use the abuses in our court system anymore as an excuse for the rate that you're asking for. Show me your losses. And what I'm trying to do is encourage insurance companies to go and fight as well, because so many companies are not fighting; they're just writing the check the first time that they get a notice. And I got if there's confidence in our court system, I can get insurance companies to go fight the ridiculous claims that be made, the frivolous claims, because that's driving an incredible amount of inflation into this industry.
Has there been any consideration, thank you for that, Mr. King, consideration to regulate how attorneys market in the state of Georgia?
Yes, but you know who regulates attorneys? Attorneys.
Attorneys, yes.
Yeah, they don't so the Bar Association, they consider it a First Amendment.
Right.
I mean, I'm glad that MARTA's not allowing attorneys to stop advertising on the side of buses.
Okay.
Because they were getting pretty tacky.
Yeah, very tacky. Yes.
But lawyers don't like telling other lawyers things that they can't do. And they consider it a First Amendment, basically speech.
Okay.
But
all right. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I was at Capitol Day as well. And can you explain to the group on the tort reform Senate Bill 68 and 69 in the specifics, what's being proposed?
Basically, as a result of our data call for last year, we were able to look at trends. And what we did is we reported back to the governor and the leadership of the House that I didn't want to back them into a corner. We said, these are the trends, and this is what's driving the cost of insurance across the state. These are the list of things that you can do that will have an effect on the rate increases. We didn't tell them they had to do every one of them. We wanted to give them a menu so they can pick and choose. That is what's been put into the bills. We went through a testimony in the Senate Judiciary, and I know how Daniel, when he was facing the Lions, felt like when he was. There's nothing but lawyers in that committee. And it will go through, it's being negotiated. My hope is that enough consumers and enough business people engage, they won't water it down too much. But they basically took our list of recommendations from our data call and applied them to cutting out some of the actions. For example, having a claim where if you are an investment company and you're investing in litigation financing, you have to disclose that. Because right now in the state state action, you don't have to disclose that there's an investment company giving loans to the plaintiff to finance the lawsuit. You can't shop. For example, this Ford Motor Company, the accident occurred in middle June. I think it occurred in like Dublin, but they went and found a courtroom in Columbus, Georgia, They were shopping for where they could get, and so that that will stop. First of all, they're trying to buy it. You know, this is one of those legal languages where they will split the lawsuit. One, to find if there's negligence, and then a separate hearing to award damages. Those are the things that are being discussed, and a bunch of lawyers are arguing because we're engaged, the governor's engaged, the business community, but guess what? Every lawyer in Georgia is down at the Capitol talking to these, they're putting pressure. And it's literally how we make longaniza or sausage. It's ugly. Nobody wants to watch longaniza being made. It's ugly. But everybody loves sausage, so yeah. I hope I answered your question.
Any other questions?
Stay involved. This is a great organization. You all are the rocks that make this organization. And invite other people, especially young agents and young agencies who are just starting, especially in this Latino market. Get them involved. This is a really good forum to exchange ideas, to understand what's going on, to beat up on the insurance commissioner when he shows up and talks, and file complaints. I mean, you'd be surprised. We encourage people to file complaints. A lot of agents use our system to when their companies are not acting right. We thank you. Because when we call, we provide you coverage. I mean, there's a company that said that they weren't going to cover roofs if they were more than 10 years old. Guess where that came from? It came from an agent, a group of agents. Mm-hmm. And we call the company and says, that's illegal in Georgia. You got 24 hours to change that policy. And they did. So, thank you. And so you know what right looks like. And so please continue to appreciate your engagement again. Yes, sir.
Commissioner, can Senator Stumbaugh return the favor and say thank you? He brought you a present.
Uh-oh. Thank you.
First off, I want to thank you for letting me be here. This is my second time here, and the first time you asked me to talk about my book, Do the Best You Can't. And we sold about 25 books on that occasion, and you helped some charities. I don't pocket any of the money from my book. I'm on the board of the Boy Scouts of America, and a third of it goes there. I'm on the board of Faulkner University, a Christian university in Montgomery. A third of it goes there. And then I'm on the board of Holly Theater up in Dahlonega, Georgia, where I live. And a third of it goes there. So thank you for helping charity and hopefully helping yourselves do the best you can't. Listen, I'm going to give you a copy of my book because you've done what can't be done. First off, you can't be the insurance commissioner if you don't have a history in insurance, right?
Right.
Not me.
But he did it.
Yes, yes.
Secondly, he actually has stayed out of jail, and other insurance commissioners can't do that. So I want to give you a copy of my book, and thank you for doing the impossible. And if we can help you continue, call on us. My card's in there.
Thank you, sir.
I'm a fan of the governor. I'm on his finance committee. So let me know if I can help you.
Thank you so much, sir.
And by the way, I chaired the insurance committee for 8 years when I was in the state senate.
Wow.
And I had to deal with some of your
Yes, you
predecessors.
did.
You're fortunate you don't have to deal with me.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to come and chat with y'all. We'll stick around a little bit if you want to come in and beat me up into this.
Yeah, there's definitely photo opportunities.
No, that's it.
Well, muchas gracias.
I've got one other thing that's way more important than that presentation. Pay attention to this. My company, Assurance America, that I started 25 years ago, I was the only employee, 0 in premium volume, nothing. With the help of agencies like yours, this year we do $500 million. And let me tell you what my company has done. They just contributed $3 million to Faulkner University to start the Bud Stumbaugh School of Risk Management and Insurance in our business college. Now here's the good part. If you're interested in getting a degree in risk management and insurance, go online to Faulkner University and ask about our scholarship program, because you can get your bachelor's degree online. You never have to go to Montgomery, and you can get your degree and you can get it free if you qualify for the scholarships made available by that $3 million. And most of you can qualify. So go online, enroll, and get your degree in risk management and insurance.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, that's, definitely, John will stick around, we definitely maybe want to take some photo opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honored.
I'm sorry?
There's a case.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Photo.
Photo, yes, oh, yes, absolutely.
All right, all right, I'll take one and then vice versa.